I mean,
What
Sorry.
about Mars? Car?
we're like in all different spaces.
And we're live, folks.
And we're live, folks, so welcome. so, um, well, it says we're live. We'll have to see. Hello, people. Where are you, people? Okay. It says it's live there. That's good. I put it in the chat, so welcome. I just turned it on my phone, so okay. Okay, so we do have, well, I think we have people. 4 people, so one of them is me. So,
You got at least three because we're
well, at
here.
least,
Uh,
yes, we're here. So
We're
whoever
bringing
that
the number.
fourth, we're just, we're crashing the numbers on LinkedIn Lives, folks. I mean, I'm telling you.
here's the
So,
great thing. There's replays. We didn't used to
yes.
have replays.
Well, oh, we're up to
True.
5. Not that we're numbers chasers, folks, but welcome. So we'll officially do our welcome. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. If this is the first time you see us, whether it's live or on the replays, yes, we just hope you're going to have a good time on this Thursday or Friday, depending on where you're at in the world. So this is LinkedIn 101, becoming a LinkedIn rock star. I'm going to let Roy introduce himself first before he walks into his office. Oh, Meryl's there. And then I guess I could look in the chat and actually do that. And then, Shell, have you introduce yourself, and then I will go last. And then we'll get into today's topic.
So much. Once again, here I am with my two favorite gals from the US, Mel and Shell. And my business is called Out There Branding, and I call myself a promotional product disruptor. And that particular terminology, it really resonates with me because that's exactly what I do. Is I help small to medium-sized businesses with their branding and marketing, and I use targeted promotional products um, aligned with a strategy to assist companies to get seen, heard, and remembered. And I utilize LinkedIn as a means to showcase what I do, why I do it, how I solve pain points for my customers, but more importantly, to measure results. That's what I do. My name is Roy, and I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm out.
Great.
Thanks,
Shell?
Roy. Yeah. No, Meryl. This is not the first time that Roy has introduced himself while driving and parking. But at least he's doing it in a safe way. So I'm Shell. Glad to be back with you this week. I know last week we were off. I am affectionately, as you can see on your screen, your LinkedIn cheerleader. And what I love doing is cheering people on throughout their LinkedIn journey. So I really thrive in a space where I can help you engage better and have more of the conversations that matter to you, find your audience and the people that you want to surround yourself with, and then feel good about showing up as yourself. So I really, you've seen me here before, or you've heard me on audio events if you've attended before. I get really excited to help you get excited to do your thing and to shine. So I'm excited for tonight's conversation. Mel, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself now?
Yes. So, for those that don't know who I am, my name is Melanie Mitchell Wexler. I was a former recruiter turned career coach, and now, as well as I'm a LinkedIn strategist, and I help people understand how to be found, seen, and heard on LinkedIn, and turning LinkedIn into more than just a job board. So, yes. So last week I was sick. I am back to the somewhat of the land of living. I'm still congested and the weather in Maryland is just crazy and nuts. And so, but I'm actually conscious. And so thanks everyone while we took a little unexpected break. And Roy's walking into his office, so he'll be back and join us here in a minute. Actually, I got to let him back in. Um, So Roy, I almost forgot to let you back in. I was just like talking. But yeah, so tonight we're going to talk about the top LinkedIn mistakes to avoid, common pitfalls that may be holding you back from growing your presence and unlocking new opportunities on LinkedIn. We've all three of us have made these mistakes. We want to definitely we want to hear from you guys. What are mistakes that you've been making? Or have made in the past? What have you learned? How to do things differently? One of the big benefits of doing this weekly live stream is I'm still getting used to not calling it a room, but is to be able to learn from one another and to teach one another all the things not to do and all the things that we could be doing and how to do things differently. So definitely see a lot of friendly faces. So just want to give a quick shout out to hi Felipe, hi Lisa, hi Melanie Richards, I think is here as well. I think Meryl, and of course Meryl Cass. Thank you so much for keeping the conversation going in the chat, and I want to make sure that you guys do that as well. So well, Roy gets his all of his things kind of figured out there on that end. Let's just jump right in. Shell, what do you feel like are some of the top mistakes that people? Well, let's before we go into just everybody in general, what are some mistakes that you used to make that you don't make anymore?
One of the mistakes that I used to make all the time when I first was getting situated on the platform, not even just when I first started, but like even as I was learning how to navigate the platform more effectively, was to connect with anyone and everyone. I wouldn't say that I was a connection collector per se, but I wasn't as intentional and discerning with who I surrounded myself with. I figured if people wanted to connect with me, if there was a reason that they were reaching out to connect, like, cool, let me add them to my network. You know, I never know when I might need them again. And while that's not entirely bad to do, because it's true, you may never know when you'll need your network or who you can tap into. I do find that it's helpful for you to be really intentional and know who are the people that I really want to surround myself with? Who are the people that I'm looking to connect with? Who do I want to have deeper conversations with? Who do I want to allow into this space, into my space that I've created for myself? Things that I've found from when I started to as I was learning to navigating now, and I've noticed like a really incredible change now that I don't just allow everyone and anyone into my space.
Perfect. And Roy, what about you? The question I posed to Shell was what's some one mistake or maybe two mistakes that you used to do that you don't do anymore and that you've learned from?
Well, as I did say to you before we started, how much time have you got? Because I can unravel. I've no doubt. I can unravel many, many, many. But here's probably the single most important lesson that I've learned of a bad practice that I've changed, and that is, I'm a promotional product person. Here's my products. These are absolutely fantastic. You should buy them from me. Get hold of me. Here's my contact details. Guess how much engagement I got from that? Can you? Zero. And the more times that I did it, if you can work out, if you're a mathematician, zero multiplied by zero is equal to zero. And so I kept doing that. And guess what? I never did it consistently. I used to wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to sell some products on LinkedIn. As soon as I changed my mindset to how can I solve challenges for my customers, and how can I share how the challenge was overcome using particular targeted promotional products to the outcomes, that's when the penny dropped, and that's when everything changed. And that is the single biggest mistake that I managed to correct, luckily, and the rest is history. My name is Roy, and I'm out.
Thank you, Roy. And I am right there with Roy. I've been on this platform from pretty much from the start of it. I was on it as a recruiter, and definitely used it differently. Nobody had ever trained. I didn't even know, I don't even know if people trained on LinkedIn back then. I'm sure people did, but didn't really know how to use this platform. And then I pivoted into my own business and coaching, and I just continued to do the things that I knew that I had always been doing, which was really absolutely kind of nothing. I never posted content. What else of the other things that I didn't do? I was definitely not consistent. But I knew that my clients were here. I knew that, but I didn't know how to connect, like Roy, kind of like, okay, here I am, a career coach, so you're going to hire me, right? And so I think that was probably one of the bigger mistakes, is just really not, truthfully, not educating myself. And this is kind of where I began my own LinkedIn journeys. I know, kind of like even similar to Shell's, where I started to dive into, okay, well, how do you, like, what do you do on this platform? How do you show up on this platform? So I would say that's the number one mistake, is just the lack of education, of not taking the time. So I just want to say quick props to all of the people that are watching. And even if you watch on the replay, and also drop us a comment if you watch on the replay and let us know. But props to everybody for coming tonight, and for like actually taking, like, just wanting to learn something different than you're doing today. That is like already ahead of the curve over most people that are continuously not showing up. So let's go into, what do we think? That's, I think, a good segue. Shell, I'll come back to you. What do you think is a number one mistake that most people are not doing right now on the platform that could change their course?
I don't know if it's the number one, but it is up there. People aren't engaging. And that's, I think, a missed opportunity for sure. I don't think it's enough just to have an optimized profile. I don't think it's enough to have even the right people in your network. If you're not using them, if you're not using your profile to leverage that, if you're not using your network to leverage and have more conversations, if you're not engaging with the people that you've now surrounded yourself with, then you're missing out on opportunities. I do think that not engaging or taking the time to have the conversations is really a misstep for a lot of people. So yeah, again, maybe not the top one, but definitely up there for sure.
Absolutely. And Roy, why is it important? Because obviously we preach that you have to have an optimized profile, but if you're going to engage, where does that profile come into play? Why is it important to have that optimized profile?
Well, the reality is, if you think about it, and this is a very logical thing. First of all, does your profile clearly articulate who you are, what you do, who you serve, and how you overcome challenges for your customers and potential customers? And more importantly, what do you want to be known for? So don't forget, people come and have a look at your profile if they want to know a little bit more about you. They don't just all of a sudden find your profile. They say, I'd like to know a little bit about Mel and Shell. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at their profile. That's it. Now, here's your opportunity to advertise who you are, what you do, why you do it. And if you don't do it properly, guess what? They're gone. And I know I've said this 155,000 times, but let me say it 155,000 times and one. And that is, they don't come back. Yep, they don't come back in 2 weeks' time and say, I wonder if that guy Roy Kowalski has fixed his profile. Let me go and check. They are gone. Gone, gone. And so when you are engaging in other people's content, it is absolutely crucial, and you can hear in the tone of my voice, it's crucial that your profile is properly optimized. Because if you want to convert engagement into the DMs, they're going to look at your profile in that process. And if you miss that step, goodbye, see you later. So there's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Love it. You could tell, you could say it 1,000 more times and it would still not be enough. Mel, are you playing around with the format here? What's going on?
I am not playing around with the format.
We're
I
shifting.
lost connection and just kind of had
This is called,
to not do anything with my computer because I
this
didn't
is
want
called
to like
musical chairs today.
yes. so um and so um yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's Baltimore. What can I say? I'm just blaming everything on the city of Baltimore. So, yeah, I lost connection there, and it was like, you have no connection. I'm like, oh, that's great. I don't know what to do about that. So, um, yeah, so I got most of what Roy was saying, and then both of you were frozen on my screen, and I'm like, oh goodness, what's gonna happen? so um, but yeah, so
Well,
where were we
just
at?
just to recap, just to recap, in case you missed part of it, Roy was letting everybody know how important it is to optimize the profile because you don't get a second chance if somebody comes and it doesn't say what it needs to say. If you don't effectively tell people who you are, what you do, why you do it, and how you can help, they might disappear and not come back. They're not going to take another look or give you, as Roy always says, like they're not going to come back in 2 weeks' time to say, "Oh, well, I wonder if Mel, updated her headline. I wonder if the about section tells a little bit more about her." Right? Like if it's not complete, it's not complete. That's it. So sometimes you only have that one shot. I don't want to start singing some lyrics here, but sometimes you only have one shot to like capture people's attention. So make sure that you are being, and I'll use this word as I always do, intentional to put yourself out there in the best way, most effective way possible. And if you're not sure how to do that, that's what we're here for.
Can I maybe just say one thing right at the end of what Charles just said? Your profile should be a work in progress all the time. There
Yep.
should be no end game to your profile. You should never be in a position where you say to yourself, my profile is 100%. I don't have to change anything in any way ever. BS. Because life changes. People want to see that there's something that's going on. And so when these aspects come about, just tweak it. If you feel as though, like for instance, I mean, we've been doing these events for how long? I've changed my headline from branding and promotional branding and marketing strategist to all sorts of things. Now it's promotional product disruptor. And guess what? Maybe in 6 months' time, I'll find something else. At the moment, I'm in love with promotional product disruptor. But my point is this: keep your profile as a work in progress. Do not have it as an end destination.
And I think that is probably yes. Meryl did get that right. That is Eminem. That is actually the number one motivated song that if I need motivation, it is my go-to motivational song. And so, just FYI, if anybody wanted to know an interesting fact about me, that is my go-to. I can listen to that song and be motivated in any capacity whatsoever. So, and no, Mr. Simpson did not pull the plug, though he is walking around and chirping here and there. So, he may make an appearance today because I don't know what he's up to. So, but I mean, I absolutely agree with both of you on everything that you've said. These are kind of the obvious things. So, I'd love to hear from our audience if there's specific questions you have, and it doesn't even have to relate to this topic per se, or if you're doing something, maybe it's not working and you're kind of like, ooh, am I doing something wrong? Maybe it's the platform, things of that nature. So definitely feel free to share. Feel free to share those questions, drop them in the chat. We'll make sure that we get to them and answer them as well. I would also add really quickly that I think not only engagement, but consistency. I don't think people are consistent enough on this platform. And by consistency, I don't mean 7 days a week. You don't have to post 7 days a week. But I think if you're going to agree, like if you say, hey, I'm going to post once a week, or I'm going to do certain types of activity. You need to be consistent with that activity. So you need to be consistent with that, because that's how your audience starts to get to know you. They know that's how you're going to show up. So if the only thing I did was to write my newsletter every single week, you all would know that usually by between 9 to 10 a.m. on Thursday mornings, my newsletter will come out, because that's a consistent, I'm building that brand, I'm building that consistency and that message to my audience. So for me, I think it's the consistency piece, that how you show up and where you show up, that can be a lot of different ways. We all three do different things, but the most important thing is just it's just the mere fact of showing up. So
I want to add to that a little bit, because something that I've been noticing a lot more recently is that consistency is not enough. So another mistake that I've been seeing is that you also need to be committed. So that goes hand in hand with the consistency. So if you are going to show up and post once a week, Mel, I'll use you as the example to do your weekly newsletter, right? Or your weekly poll, either one of those. It doesn't even have to be both. Like, you've made the decision to, this is how you're going to show up consistently. You're going to make sure that it goes out every week at that, around that time. And even if you can't get it out at that, around that, the same time, you still make sure that it still gets out at some point. Like, so even if the consistency ebbs and flows a little bit, you're still committed to what you're doing. You're not saying, "Oh, well, I'll just skip it for this week and I'll come back to it next week." You're still committed to doing the thing. You're still committed to showing up, and you still keep that commitment to your audience, that you're built as you're building that brand, so that they get used to seeing you in that certain cadence, in that certain rhythm, and like they almost expect it. Which also then, take it a step further, sets the boundary of like, all right, here's when you can expect to see content from me. Here's when you can expect to engage with me, because here's when you know that if I'm going to post, and again, speaking for on Melanie's behalf here for her with regard to her newsletter or her poll posts, like, you know when they're going to come, so you can expect that you can engage with her at that time. So I don't think consistency is enough. I think consistency is a good starting point, but then what are you committing yourself to? What are you committing to your audience? And what, it's like a promise to yourself and to your audience that you're going to keep doing this thing. And that way they can get to like, know, and trust that you are going to do what you said you're going to do, which is the same thing that I expect when I engage with somebody, or if somebody makes a commitment to me or wants to work with me. You've now made that commitment to like show up and do the thing. So I think it's important that we put that out there too. What are you committing to when you're here? Why are you showing up? And if we need to tie it back to the why, then we need to make sure we do that too.
And one other thing that I just want to jump onto the back of what Cheryl said is that if you and I'm a pretty consistent content creator. When I miss a day, I don't have like a heart attack about it. I miss the day. So what? Guess what? The sun comes up the next day. But here's the point. Don't be afraid to affect your consistency because you couldn't make it today, or you weren't feeling well, whatever it is. But here's the point. Get back on the horse straight away. Get your consistency back on track. And if you miss it for another couple of days, so what? The sun came up the next day. But get back into it, because that's what consistency is all about. Consistency is not necessarily you are there every single solitary day, even if you are sick in the hospital and you're writing your post on your deathbed. No, consistency is showing up and being there. And if you miss a day, that's fine. Get back to your consistency.
Yeah, life happens, but we still want you to build that momentum.
There are some people out there that I think would probably write a LinkedIn post that would say, as I'm dying, these are the things that I learned about how to use LinkedIn. like in this situation. So
You only get one shot.
You're just gonna quit. You're just gonna quit that all day, aren't you? So just gonna be like,
but
let's face it. Go ahead,
but
Roy.
here's another one that I just can't get my head around this, because it's such a simple tip, that people get wrong all the time. Let me connect with Mel. Let me send Mel a connection. Connect. That's it. No notes, nothing. And the next day, I send Mel, I've got this amazing promotional product that I really think will change your life. You should contact me because it's absolutely unbelievable. Here's my contact details. Mistake number one: don't connect with people without sending them a note. Let them know why you're connecting with them. What's the relevance of the connection? What's the context? In fact, let me go one step further. Go and engage on their post first so that they can see that you're interested in them. And when you connect, say, I thought this was an interesting aspect. I'm always looking to connect with like-minded people. Love to be connected with you. And then when you've got the connection, um, then don't sell to them straight away. Warm them up. Make them feel a little bit interested first. Ask them, what are the challenges that they're faced with? Again, in those DMs, ask questions. Don't make statements. And see how it goes. Take them down the path of engagement. Don't try and get to the destination without walking them down the path so that they know where you're going with them. My name is Roy and I'm out.
I will also add sending really weird connection notes sometimes. I think I fully agree with it, and we can talk about that. And Shell knows where I'm going to go since it's jumping up here. Okay. So I had, and I'll have to, okay. So there you go, buddy. So I had, and I'm going to look for it, Shell. I'm going to look for it right now on my phone. So, but I agree with you fully on that, like, well, while I'm looking for this message, I will say that Shell is very good. Like, Shell has the patience of a saint, by the way, folks, if you did not know this. But she literally will message somebody like, why did you want to connect with me? Like, she will push that button where I'm literally like, no, sorry, I know you're going to sell to me. But literally, Shell will be like, does this work for you? Like, how does this help you? Have you had success doing it this way? And I swear but yeah, Shell, go ahead and share. We both so this is a great example, Roy. This is a perfect example. Shell and I got a connection request from the same person. We're not going to name the name. I got a very interesting message. Shell did not get any message from this person. And I often share, I was literally like, Shell, I don't even know what to say to this person. I didn't even understand the message, but Shell, share away.
Yeah, it says, serious business question, Melanie. You have the power to squirt a different sauce out of each finger on one hand. Which 5 sauces you picking? Like, okay, so I appreciate the comic relief here. Let me break this down for a second. I appreciate the comic relief. They were trying something. I don't know if they do this all the time. They obviously, well, actually, I know that they don't do it all the time because I got a connection request from the same person with no note. So it's possible that they're testing their strategy here. Either way, I appreciate the attempt. But this message doesn't do anything to give Melanie a reason to speak with them, to respond, even to interact or comment on the humor, right? Like, so if we go back to being really intentional with why we're here and who we want to surround ourselves with, what is the reason that you want to connect with somebody? Just tell them that. Give them a reason to speak to you.
It's simple. It's very simple. So, yes. So, yes, that was a real message. I screenshotted to Shell. And then Shell's like, wait a minute. He wants to connect with me, but I didn't get a message. So I'm like, one, telling me to pick five sauces, like seriously, that's too much for me. Okay, I like right now in work life, I can't even decide what I want for my own dinner. Okay, I am a 5-year-old child. I need you to tell me what to eat. Okay, so there's no way I can respond to five sauces. I don't even know where to start.
I
Barbecue.
mean,
I don't know.
I,
is, is ketchup
are
a
there five?
sauce? I
Normally, I
don't.
just make my own sauce.
I don't even know. But and I give Shell credit because sometimes when my we joke that sometimes my empathy meter and my empathy level is empty. Like that's a like I am an empathetic person and I do try to connect with others and I try to be like if you're on here today and if we're not connected, connect with me. I will figure that out. But again, to Shell's point, why do you want to connect with me? To talk about aioli. We have Shars. Please share what your sauce would be, folks. Okay.
Or share what your hype song is. So if like we know
Yes.
now Melanie's hype song is One Shot by Eminem. Like, so we're here for the sauces and the songs.
Yeah. That's going to be the new name of the show, Sauces and Songs. So we're going to rebrand now.
What's
I
wrong with
don't even know.
what's wrong with saucy songs?
Saucy Songs.
For your LinkedIn strategy.
So,
So
yes. Oh, sriracha. See, we're on the topic of sauces, folks.
So bring us full circle, Roy. How do we connect this
bring,
back?
okay, so what about this? We carry on, as we're going, but what about the last 15 minutes? We do a popcorn style tips that you should be considering if you want to engage properly. From all the lessons that we've learned and all the things you shouldn't do, what about the last 15 minutes of your popcorn style? Do this. Here's 10 things that you can do spread between us as to what you should be doing after you've seen the things we shouldn't be doing.
I
Let's
love it.
let's do it. By
I
the way,
love
do you
it.
put sauce or butter on your popcorn? Because I could connect that too.
It is all brought together, folks. But here's the thing too. Like this is something that we could easily make into a post. Like we could talk about this. Like we can. So that the types of things that we're talking about are the types of things that you can flip into content for yourselves. And I do think that I think you have to have an engagement strategy and I think you have to have a content strategy. I think you have to have both. We know that this platform is funky. There are some new statistics. We won't get into them today, but Richard Vandervloom did share a post. His big report's going to be coming out sometime in the spring, I think, but he shared some statistics of things that they've already found. So I do think that in order to leverage this platform, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it the way somebody else is doing it. You can adopt your own process, but I think there's some key things for that. So on that note, we're at 6:34. So again, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. Continue to share your favorite sauce while you're at it, or your number one hype song, whatever you get. And now, I'll just say, I don't know what a sauce and a condiment is the difference. Like ketchup to me is a condiment, but this could be also a global thing. That is also an issue too. So I don't want to offend anybody, but to Michael's point, consistency, newsletters, restreaming podcasts, things of that nature, tools that you can use on this platform. So, Shell, gonna start with you. Let's just kind of go popcorn style. If we hit on something, let's dive in deep into it.
All right. So you want me to give a tip now, right? Let's do it. Okay. I'm going to circle back around to what I've been saying throughout this conversation. I want you to know why you're here. I want you to think about why are you showing up on this platform? Think about why you're reaching out to connect with somebody. Every little thing that you do combines to have a bigger effect. So every step of the way, you need to be thinking about, what is my intention here? Why am I doing this? I'll pass the popcorn now to somebody else to add on to that, or go in their own direction.
So,
What would you add, Roy?
yeah, so I would say you got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy plan, and everyone's strategy plan is different to the previous, to somebody else. So at the beginning of the year, I sit down. Here it is. I just wanted to show you. There we go. There's my strategy plan, and here it sits in my office, right over here, so I can see it all the time. Now, here's the thing: this strategy plan is a little bit flexible. It's not so cast in stone that I can't make changes. For instance, I've been very fortunate to have been featured in LinkedIn News Australia for 12 times now. Now, if I don't take those opportunities, and these are not planned, how did I know that I was going to get featured? So when that comes about, if I've got a plan that says A, B, C, there's no place for like a new post that highlights that LinkedIn users use my content. So here's my tip: have a plan and make sure that it's visible to you. And the most important thing with the plan, have it written down. Without it written down, it's no plan. That is a dream. If it's in your head, it's a dream. When you reduce it to writing, you're bringing it to reality and you're holding yourself accountable. There's my tip: plan and thereby hold yourself accountable.
I'm going to add something to Roy's about having the plan, because I absolutely agree having the plan is so important. And I'm going to tie this into Michael had a comment about building his brand as a thought leader to land his next role. So if those are your, kind of your whys or your goals, I want you to actually take that to the next level. I'm not a huge data person, but I understand the importance of data. And so in order to see if we're like moving in the right direction. So if we decide like, okay, I'm going to do a poll every single week. And I'm going to give myself a time frame, and it's got to be a longer, it can't be, oh, I did a poll last week and it bombed. There's a lot of reasons why that may happen, but I'm going to do a poll at this time and I'm going to see what the results are. And I'm going to start to track that. Now, I'm not saying you have to like, oh my gosh, I only got 100 likes. And, the next person over, I saw that they got like 500 and I suck. No, you're not going to compare those numbers, but are those numbers going up? What topics were resonating with your audience? What topics got them really interested and started like having a lot of conversation? These are the types of things you should be looking at instead of just throwing stuff out there. And I think this is something that people do wrong, and why they stop creating content is they throw out a post. It doesn't quote unquote perform well. By the way, all three of us have posts that don't perform well. It happens every single day. Even top voices that I know personally have posts that do not perform well. You can't, and then they go, oh, this doesn't work, and I only got 2 likes. And that's not the point of the, like, truthfully, it's not about the likes. It's not about that. I don't care if 2 people comment on your post. I want you to reply back to those 2 people, because now you're engaging in conversation. I just had this with my newsletter. I don't even know, had a fair amount of likes today. I think we had like 3 or 4 comments, but somebody asked me for another tip. I did 25 tips for 25, 25 resumes, 25 resume tips in 25 is what I did today. And one of the things that she asked me for another tip. So you know what? I gave her another tip. Why? Because that's a potential, and I'll be honest with you, that's a potential client to me. That's a potential person that may want to come to me and say, hey, thank you so much for, and she was appreciative. She was like, thank you so much for answering my comment and answering my question. And so that's how you build the relationships. It's not about the 100 and 500 and 1,000 likes. And so I think that's really where people start to get it wrong, And I have a comment that is on a LinkedIn news article. It's not a featured one, but it's a comment on one. It's got over 51 likes and I think 6 or 7 comments. I've replied back to every single person that commented or replied to my comment. And I treat it as if it's my own post. Again, I'm building and I'm engaging. And this was a pretty serious topic about job searching and the frustrations and all sorts of things. And I'm also giving them opportunity to, like, hey, I just want to invite you to my career coaches on call room, or I've got some resources I can give you if you're struggling in your job search. I want to be a resource to people, and I want to build that like, know, and trust factor. So I just want to add that on there. So we are definitely we should have mentioned sauces much earlier because that's blown up our conversation. I'm just telling you. So and yes, if you're going to eat popcorn, you got to put butter on it. I mean, if you're going to go to the movies, I mean, you got to eat buttered popcorn. Got to treat yourself, folks. And so, and Leslie just joined us. She's probably like, what the heck is happening over here? If she checks the comments. So we'll get you up to speed, Leslie, but I see that you joined. Thank you so much. Keep the tips a coming. That's going to be a new saying there. Shell, keep the tips a coming. And what's your next one?
Well, speaking of,
this is what happens by the time Thursday hits, folks.
Speaking of sauces, no, really. Speaking of sauces, and I'm going to connect this back to LinkedIn, I promise. Stick with me here while I do this. Okay, so we're always encouraging you to think about what your secret sauce is, right? So we've been talking about different sauces. We've talked about like what condiments you put on your popcorn. But if I bring this back to you, those of you in the audience, think about, I already mentioned the intentionality behind it, but like, what is your differentiator? What is the secret sauce? What is something that you do that other people may not do, or that you do really well, and that's the thing that you're going to and want to stand out for? What is your secret sauce? And if you want to tie that into your popcorn, so be it. Maybe you want to make a post and tie popcorn in there too, or any other kind of sauce. But think about, really, seriously, what is your secret sauce? What's the thing that's going to help you stand out and get noticed and create that like, know, and trust factor? Because with over 1 billion people on this platform and so few people actually creating content or engaging in ways that can build the conversations and help you stand out, like, you have a real opportunity here to be seen, heard, and known for the things that you are really great at. So what are those things? Whether you want to put that in the chat, if you want to put that in the chat, I encourage you to do so. But if you just want to think about it or jot some notes down for yourself, what is your differentiator? What is the thing that you do that other people can't? What's the thing that you want to be known for? And like, lean into that more throughout your profile, throughout your engagement, in conversations. You don't have to talk about it in every single thing that you do, but I want you to lead with that so that you're not just having random conversations that lead nowhere. Roy, coming over to you.
So here's my tip around when you're creating content is try and show in your content what the problem is. Then show what you can do to solve the problem. And thirdly, highlight the outcomes for the person and company that had the problems. Because people want to be able to read something to say, oh, hold on a sec, I had that same problem. Oh, wow, Shell can help me overcome that. And thirdly, these are the outcomes that Shell's client customer had. Wow, those are the kind of outcomes that I want. So frame your content, what it is that you solve, what you did to solve it, and what the outcomes were for the person that had that challenge. That's me, Mel.
Love it.
Love it, Michael.
Love it.
Love your superpower of being a connector of dots.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing too, is like I want to add that people are watching. There are lurkers everywhere. And do not dis do not discredit or don't place any value on those lurkers. Those lurkers, I'm going to be very honest with you, they're the ones that are never going to like your post. They're never going to comment on a post. Even though we tell you week after week the best type of thing you can do is engage on a post. Until we speak it. But those are the people that literally will, they're watching, they're reading, but they're the ones that are going to pull the trigger. And I'm telling you, I have these conversations, and this is where I start to find my lurkers are actually the people that have viewed my profile. Now, some people, like today, some of you are going to have viewed my profile. I'll understand why, because I can put two and two together. I see you here. You probably came to my profile. You saw the live and everything of that nature. So I can put that together. But some people I don't know, and I reach out to them. I have more conversations with people of like, oh yeah, I'm like looking for a career coach, or I'm looking for this. And I start a conversation. And I have this conversation with my clients because they're like, yeah, recruiters come and look at my profile, but they never say anything. And I'm like, well, do you reach out to them and say something to them? And we make this like big deal about it in our heads. It really isn't. And I used to be one of those people. That was a mistake that I was making. Is I overcomplicated it in my head. Like, oh, what am I going to say? I don't want them to think it's creepy that I'm like following what they're doing. But no, it's about having conversations. So I reach out to them, and it's a simple process. Hey, thank you so much for checking out. By the way, was there anything there that caught your attention or I could be of a resource for? And that's all I simply say. And I get more responses out of that by sending a direct message to people. So that would be my tip, is if you have the ability with premium to see who is looking at your profile, start reaching out to those people. That is where conversations are waiting to happen for you. Start reaching out to them. Shell?
Can I maybe
Oh yeah,
just,
go ahead.
I know it's not my turn, but can I
no, you're fine.
I just wanted to say that at my BNR meeting this morning, it's a networking breakfast, this woman comes up to me and she says to me, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And I said, what do you mean? She says, I follow all your content on LinkedIn. Scott, this is exactly what happened this morning. I said, but like, isn't that amazing? I didn't even know. She said, yeah, well, I don't I don't get involved in the, but I follow you, she said. I'm so happy to meet you, person to person, she said to me. It's the exact words she said. And here's the thing, exactly what you said, Mel, is that I didn't even know this woman's followed any of my content. She doesn't like anything. She doesn't engage on it, zero. But she follows my content. She almost made me feel like a rock star. And here I am. All I'm doing is creating content, and hoping I'm bringing value. So I thought I would just share that particular story.
I've had one of my former bosses that I just love, and he got my sense of humor. We've stayed in touch, and he sent me a direct message the other day because I did make I'll just share here as well. I did make an announcement. I got hired by a company called Udacity. I'm creating a content creator, creating content. I'm going to be doing a series of synchronous video, like LinkedIn Learning, but it's online. So I'm going to be doing LinkedIn training as well as resumes and cover letters for them. And so I started that this week. It's a little, I'll be honest, my imposter syndrome. I had to submit my first script today for my very first LinkedIn lesson. And I was literally like, I was super nervous. I'm like, I had to send it to my production manager. I forget which title she is, but I have a whole team. Like, it's an amazing opportunity. And so I'm definitely having my imposter syndrome happening right now, but I will say the consistency of that, though, is also the consistency of all of this is also why I was given that opportunity, because they reached out to me. But one of my former bosses was responding to my post. He didn't respond to the post. He sent me a direct message. He's like, I just want you to know that I've been following you for so long, and I'm just so proud of you. And I'm literally like, John, you could have said something. Like, like you could give me a like, you could give me a comment, like you could give me something. He's like, no, I'm just super proud of you. Like, I love what you've done coming from being a recruiter, and I'm just super proud of you. But he's like, yeah, I'm like, literally had no clue that he actually pays attention to what I'm doing or anything like that. I don't even know that he posts content or anything. So it just goes to show that the people that are out there are, and is, yes, and I'm going to share this comment on the screen from Meryl, our neighborhood friendly lurker. Yes. Um, so, so I think it's really important to never underestimate the lurkers, because even if you're not getting the numbers that you like, and for me, I don't get high numbers on my content. I don't. And that's okay. I wish I did. I'm not going to lie. Some days I wish I did, but I'm okay with, but I've also seen the results that are happening because of the fact that I'm consistent, and I'm also, I'm committed, as Shell says, and I'm kind of thinking, Shell, we should focus more on that commitment piece than it's committed and consistent. So, Shell, back over to you.
You threw me off there with your Uno skip card, Roy. You just skipped right over me. That's fine. I'll roll with the punches here. If I connect the dots here, like Michael was doing earlier, we've talked about consistency and commitment. And something that Roy often talks about too is leading with curiosity and like being curious enough to get to know the other person. It's not always just about you. Like, show interest in who you're speaking to. Roy, I'm gonna let this one lend itself right into your famous quote here, if you want to share that with people.
Show people that you're interested in them before telling them how interesting you are. Show people how interested you are in them before telling them how interesting you are.
Can't beat that. We've quoted Roy so many times. You don't know it, now you know.
Well, we are at 6:53, so I want Roy to let everybody know what's happening with LinkedIn Mastery on Fridays, and then Shell, I will have you wrap us up.
Well, I want to just share one other thing first, and very, very quick.
Absolutely.
When I comment on other people's posts, I have a little footer, and the footer has my name. It has what I want to be known for, promotional product disruptor. It has my company name out there, branding, and it has the three aspects: promotional promotional products, marketing tips, and branding ideas. And then underneath that, I have a little aspect that says subscribe to my newsletter. Now, here's what I wanted to tell you. I get between 20 and 30 subscriptions to my newsletter every single solitary week. Let me repeat that. Every single solitary week. And it's not because I have a brilliant newsletter. It's because I'm reminding people to subscribe to it. When someone looks at my content, they see at the bottom the little footer, and guess what? They subscribe to the newsletter. I've got close to 3,000 people that subscribe to my newsletter, and the growth has been from when I put that right down at the bottom of the post. I just want to find what the topic is, so maybe Shell can just.
Well, before Shell goes, I just
topic.
want to say I shared earlier how I had that one comment. and I'm not trying to. I want to preface. I'm not trying to boast with this, but like it's up to 74 likes or reactions, 16 replies on it. Not my post, but I'm going to where my audience is. And literally, as I was getting ready to respond to Meryl and Sandra, I may not forget after I log off. So I just want to say thank you guys for your support and helping. You appreciate that. But literally, one of the comments that I just saw was, I'm actually debating talking to a career coach. I'm trying to start a new career, goes on. But that was a comment replying to my comment on this post. So again, to Shell's original point about engagement, and engagement's where I thrive. I thrive on the engagement piece. Now I am taking this comment and I am making it into a post for tomorrow. I've already saved it and have it scheduled. So I'm going to see how it does on my own page. So I'm playing around with it. Again, I'm trying to be, I still remain committed to my own content creation. And to do that, actually, I just realized I cannot do that because I'm hosting LinkedIn Mastery next week, so I have to post 3 different rams. So I just realized I need to post LinkedIn Mastery tomorrow. So I'll share that another time. But that just goes to show, yes, commitment and also knowing your schedule. We rotate hosts, so I'm horrible about remembering that. But knowing your schedule, consistency. So, do you know your topic?
I found the link.
Yes.
So tomorrow 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, social serving and lead generation, and we always get a good attendance of this. And tomorrow's topic is why it is possible to have fun on LinkedIn whilst building authentic connections. So you've got to have fun. So there's the topic. Why is it possible to have fun on LinkedIn while building authentic connections?
And we know that's why y'all come here on Thursdays, is to have a little fun with us. So, so ironically, see, Roy starts the party early, and then he just keeps it going into Friday and Saturday. That's what happens, folks. So, okay, Shell. Before we lose our entire audience, and we've covered a lot. Like, we've covered a lot tonight, folks. I mean, we really have. And I do hope, though, out of all the funness and the sauces and the popcorn and the power motivational songs, do hope that you've walked away with 1 or 2 tips of things that you can do slightly different. Thanks, Sandra, for sharing Roy's event. Appreciate that as well. And of course, appreciate everybody that's in the chat as well for staying with us. Okay, Shell, it's in your wheelhouse now.
Well, first off, maybe and sorry, I have the background on, but I definitely took some notes this evening with the top 10 tips and mistakes that we were sharing. Actually, I wrote down 11. So maybe I'll take a page from Melanie's book and turn that into a LinkedIn post. Who knows? We'll see where it goes. But from week to week, we definitely encourage you to come back. We encourage you to take action on some of the things that you have learned here this evening. If you found it helpful, we'd love to hear from you and know those things. I'm definitely a words of affirmation gal. So, hey, Mr. Simpson. So I definitely appreciate when you have found something helpful. Let us know. If there's anything that we can still help you with, also let us know that. That way we can address it in future sessions. And as I always do, please take a moment, if you have not already done so, to look around this room in the chat. Obviously, we're not in an audio space where you can do that right here and there, but you could scroll through the chat. You could go back to the event page, see who was interested in attending here. You all now have that common ground. Connect the dots. Take a look at who's in the room and see who else you can connect with. Who's worth having a conversation with. Who excites you enough or interests you enough or gets you curious enough to spark another conversation. Use this room as leverage to have that conversation. Look around to your left, right, up, down, all the things, and have the conversations. Have more of the conversations that matter to you. And of course, please come back next week for another LinkedIn 101 session.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm bringing Mr. Simpson in for the last minute headshot. He's ready for his dinner, and he's like, "Okay, Mom, time to log off." So we will see you back next week. If you have topics you want us to cover, please let us know. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you back next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern for LinkedIn 101.
Bye.
Have a great night, day, wherever you're at.
See you.